Alright, so I'm going to be going over the railyard strat that we used in the current Iron Horse world record, which is 1452, and the exploit that we use to do it. It is an exploit. If you don't like exploits, just don't watch this video. Like, I don't know what to tell you, but yeah. It is called rolling Ron or rolling in, whatever you want to call it, but it is a form of super drag. So yeah, with that being said, I would just like to say that I'm not trying to discourage people by like saying this, but I am trying to be extremely truthful about the strat used. It is not easy. It is extremely miserable. Getting 7 people in with this strat is extremely difficult, and it takes a very long time and a lot of practice. My team spent if not hundreds of hours just on the rail yard. Like, we would have days and weeks of just like not getting in. Like, it was rough. Like, I'm not trying to, again, I'm not trying to discourage people, but I'm trying to be very truthful about it. It's not great. But also, just like, quick little shout out to my team. Everyone spent so much time on it, and every single one of them deserves a huge congratulations. I'll leave a link down to their POVs in this video. Please go show some love. Yes. And also, this video is like, I've never done a video like this, and I'm sorry, it is kind of messy. Like, I tried my best, and yeah, I don't know. And you will kind of need a little bit of like Iron Horse knowledge. You will kind of want to know like some of the checkpoints and spawns, or have some kind of understanding with them in order to kind of understand what's happening. But if not, it's probably okay. Like, you can definitely learn some things from it for sure. Don't worry about it. And if you are an experienced speedrunner and stuff like that in Iron Horse, who knows? Maybe you'll learn a lot from this video. Never know. But yeah, I hope you guys do enjoy this video. Sorry for the long intro. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Alright, so to start off, I'm going to be showing you guys like the exploit, how it works, and like how you do it basically, and how we did it, and how we tried to get it as consistent as possible. So, you have 7 people that are rolling in, and then 1 person that is resetting. It's important that your resetter is very consistent with it, and he does the same thing every time. So yeah, that is very important. Otherwise, it will be very frustrating. So we use a soundboard for our 3-2-1 call, which basically just, the resetter will click the soundboard. Everyone in the call will hear the 3, 2, 1, and then the resetter will reset on 1. So you'll see here.
Ready up.
3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1, and then he gets a loading screen. You look very closely, he's actually rolling right before the resets, which is how it works. Like, right here, this is the only frame that you can really find of him just rolling. Like, it needs to be perfect. You need to roll right before the reset.
Ready
like
up.
It cannot be halfway through the roll. It cannot be right at the end. It has to be right before. 3, 2, 1. It needs to be perfect basically every single time.
And
It needs to be like extremely perfect. So yeah,
time.
very frustrating, and sometimes it will be perfect and you'll load in at like a random spot at the beginning of the raid, and it makes 0 fucking sense, and it's very frustrating. So
Mark.
there you go. That's basically the gist of how it works. It sucks. It's like it's the worst exploit in the game, but that's just how it is. I wish it wasn't like that, but yeah. All right, so to start off, I'm gonna be just going from the beginning of the rail yard all the way to the heat chamber. So to start off, we got the resetter. The resetter, very, very important job. It's not to be looked over, and it's honestly pretty annoying. Your timing needs to be perfect every single time, or nobody will get in every single time. So this is the player that clicks on the soundboard. You don't necessarily need to use a soundboard. Like, I guess technically the person could just say 3, 2, 1, but we use the soundboard for consistency and stuff like that. So he clicks on it. 3, 2, 1. Which is the 3, 2, 1. And then right at the end of 1, he resets.
3,
as you can see.
2, 1.
Boom. You and your team can do whatever you want with that, but that's just how it works. Or that's how we did it. This player is on Future Initiative, with chest, obviously, and a Costless Go Bag, and green chems, and an Achilles Pulse. This person doesn't really contribute to the rail yard because of how far back they have to be, because they're not actually rolling in. There's really not much they can contribute to.
I'm gonna be slow.
So yeah, we just have him on green chems just in case the nego guy is weak or gets mortared or something like that, which will happen a lot.
Railyard isn't shaping up.
So yeah. Basically is just running because of how far back he is. So that way he can get into a spot to Achilles the right gunner, because that's where the nego guy is. In this run, he hears Compton say head, which you just heard, which basically is just saying that he doesn't need to Achilles because there are more marks than the amount of marks he'll give, if that makes sense. So it's not a guaranteed head box, and that's the one box you need. So that's why we have two people Achillesing, just to kind of up the chance that there is a head box. It does not guarantee it by any means, but it will help a lot to have two. So yeah, he hears Compton say head, so he doesn't Achilles the right one. He just Achilles the left one, just because, like, why not? Like, he doesn't need, like, the mark's already there. So yeah, that's kind of it. And if he did get, like, the nego guy, like, locks here, if he got mortared or something like that, he would have shot a green chem at him. So yeah, it's kind of a free skill kind of thing, but yeah, basically this guy is the resetter on future, and Achilles Pulse is the right gunner. So yeah, that's kind of it. It's also worth mentioning this guy does not get pulled into heat chamber. He was just wiping after the pull, which we'll get into, like, the whole pull system later, but that's just something worth mentioning. So yeah. All right, so next we got Compton. This is the guy, the player that rolls into, like, that warehouse kind of just before the window. You'll kind of see what he does here. So he rolls in, he's in, runs up the stairs, kind of goes to the left here, just makes it a little easier to get this lineup. This right here is actually, like, you can kind of see he's shooting the foamer door. It's basically a door where a ton of foamers come out of. We call it the foamer door. So he shoots two there. He is waiting for a go call by another player, which we'll, get into who's saying that stuff later, but you'll listen. Go. And then that's when he runs up and starts the spawn. It's also worth mentioning that you cannot run past this little workbench here, otherwise the ads will spawn. It won't spawn anything else. It's just like those middle ads, so don't run past there until the go call, obviously. And then you run past, jump the window. I'm gonna shoot just, one more. You can also just shoot a third when you're shooting those two. It doesn't really matter. And then just one at that mid gunner that will be on fire and stuff. And then one at the sniper door, which is where he just shot. And then he shoots however many chems he has left just at that deep left door, because that's basically where all the ads are going to pour out of. Kind of interesting how the spawns in Iron Horse work. Like I kind of said, like, you kind of need to have a decent understanding, but you can force spawns to certain doors based on where you're standing or where everyone is standing. So that's how we kind of get, like, the shotgunners to spawn out of the right and then everything else out of the left. So yeah, if that's confusing, then yeah, like, it's kind of an annoying concept, but that is how we get them to, like, come out of certain doors and stuff like that. So as you can see here, he Achilles is that gunner, and then he kind of just waits. It's worth mentioning that, like, he is, after he Achilleses, he is, like, instantly, like, checking to see if he has the head box. Otherwise he'll say, like, no head, or you're good, you have head. As you can see here, it says head armor. That's how he knows that, like, he gave him head, because that's the one box that you want. All the other ones are irrelevant, and it's not a guarantee that you'll get that one. So yeah, see here, he's just kind of waiting for everything to kind of go through. This player can get pulled into the heat chamber. It's kind of up to them. It doesn't really matter. So you could wipe with these people, but we just have him wiping after the pull. So once those three players disappear, or those two players right in front of him and then the one up here disappears, that means that he's good and he can just die. And then he's basically done. He can spectate these people in here, as he's doing right now. He's spectating. This is not him. He's spectating. And then, boom. Heat chamber is done. It's kind of all you need to know for this position. So yeah, hope you guys kind of understood that. All right, so next we have the guy who's on BTSU overcharge. He's just on, like, 3-piece Empress, BTSU gloves, foxes, tech support, whatever. It is very important that this is the person that is overcharging. Don't try to think that, like, the FI guy can overcharge. It won't work. It will not give everyone on the rail yard the overcharge, because the BTSU overcharge has like a range thing. So like if you're too far away from the person that breaks the hive, it won't work. So this player needs to be the person that's doing it. So yeah, as you can see here, Ronan, he's rolling in under the bridge area, kind of like close to where the ads spawn. He throws his Stinger Hive, like basically where the Chunga spawns, as you can see here in the ads. It's important that I think he uses his audio cue here to know when they spawn. Because you need to wait a little bit so the Stinger Hive will go off a couple times to help that the middle ads die a little faster, and then he breaks it for the overcharge. So you'll see here, he hears it go off and then he immediately breaks it. That's basically just how he did it, just to help a little bit on those ads. It's also worth mentioning like how he doesn't load in and just immediately start shooting oxys. Otherwise they'll kind of run out and stuff like that. You want to wait a little bit. On that go call, that's kind of just when he does it. That's not necessarily for him, but
I'm gonna be slow. I need jumper.
He just starts shooting right when the ads spawn and he overcharges. So yeah, it's kind of when he does it. And then 2 on that sniper door, which is that first door that he shots in here.
I need jumper.
And then 4 on the left door. And then 2 on that left gunner there.
Railyard isn't shaping up.
Another thing worth mentioning, I should have mentioned this previously, but all the Oxy players have a chatterbox on with prep chatterbox stacks that we got previously. Basically what that does is that fire rate that you get from the chatterbox, like reload, if you hold the chatterbox out and then pull your chem out, it will give your Oxys that fire rate. That's how he's shooting them so fast, is the chatterbox. So yeah, and then he just runs over here and presses that right button.
Pressing.
It's also worth mentioning that you do need to space these buttons out a little bit. As you can see, like I'm over there, one player on the left presses first. You want the guy on the left pressing first, just in case this guy is late. And then like 1 or 2 seconds later, he presses this one. So yeah, they do need to be spaced out. That is super important. Otherwise, the boss will like glitch out and it won't work. So yeah. This guy is also on gunner. He's throwing a foam grenade right now. Because we sledge this guy, and when that happens, sometimes he'll just run away and stuff like that. So you want to foam him, pretty important there. And then he puts on a Sweet Dreams. So he takes the chatterbox off and puts on a Sweet Dreams, or a lullaby or whatever. It's basically that shotgun that you punch anything below an elite, it will immediately die. So yeah, and then he shoots an oxy off to the side so he can kill himself faster later. This shield ad right here will die, and the boss will die to the nego guy. Everything on the railyard needs to be dead in order for the pull to work. So that's why we have to punch these guys. As you see here, kill them, immediately walks through his oxy, he dies. Another thing worth mentioning is anyone that's dying can say that good call, like I'm the one that said it here. But it's basically just saying that we're ready, we're dead, and we're ready to be pulled into the heat chamber.
Good.
Pull.
Boom.
Run.
So basically what that means is that pull call basically hitting all the checkpoints in between, because when you are dead and a checkpoint is hit, you will get pulled to that checkpoint that was hit. Does that make sense? So this guy is the guy that hit this checkpoint, kind of backwards, but hits the checkpoint. So everybody that was dead on the railyard is now at this checkpoint. It's kind of confusing, but you'll understand a little bit more later, as we kind of get into the spots that are triggering the checkpoints and stuff like that. So yeah, how we had it set up was whoever got the fastest load would go to 2, and whoever got the slower load would go to 1, and whoever got the slowest load would do nothing. So we had 3 people dying. So yeah, you can have 4, technically maybe even 5, but we just had 3. Really doesn't matter, honestly, as long as you have 2 or 3. So yeah, as you see here, Ronan here, he gets the fastest load out of everyone that's getting pulled into heat chamber. So he goes to 2. And then I get the second fastest load, so I go to 1.
He's gamble.
We always call that out. You want to make sure. And then the person going to 2 is going to be on them to call the press, because they're going to be the last person to get to their console. The consoles will be ready basically every single time unless something like catastrophic happened, which is probably just going to mean a reset if you're, going for like sub 15 and stuff like that. So Yeah. So he shoots an oxy just so he dies the second he press, which you'll
Press,
see
press.
here. So he presses and then he's dead. It's very important that he's dead because if you're not dead right now, you're cooked because this is gonna like pull you to here, which is basically just the end of the heat chamber.
It's like a 12.
So yeah, everybody is dead then so that they can get pulled into the heat chamber. Yeah, that's basically all this guy does. So yeah.
He's like a
All right, so next up, we got the guy that gets all the fame and the glory, the nego shooter.
And
This guy needs to be pretty locked in, I'm not gonna lie.
And-
So we have this guy on a crossbow, so that way he can throw a fire nade at the middle ad and the left door. You'll see that in a second. But he throws it the second he loads in. He's also using that holster. Loki forgot what it's called. It's like that one that like gives you damage when you like switch and stuff. Yeah, I forgot what it's called. But and then 4-piece nego with bag and then perfect glass cannon. So yeah, that's his build. And then yeah, he shoots that sticky exactly where they're gonna spawn. You'll see. It's also worth mentioning he has sledgehammer on his pistol here, which is kind of important. Now that sledgehammer's nerfed, it's not as important, but it is still a little bit of help. So he holds his pistol out until they spawn. As you can see here, now they're sledged and stuff like that. And then once they spawn, pulls his AR out and detonates his sticky, which does a lot of damage because, you know, it's overcharged and it puts them on fire so they can't shoot him and stuff like that. It'll also stagger the chunga, which is super important. But also notice how he shoots the purple first. He needs to mark the purple first and then go to the chunga. Otherwise, the purple is just not going to die because he's using the negotiator's mark there to kill the purple from the chunga. If that makes sense. You know how the negotiator set works. That is why. And then he also just needs to make sure that that top gunner dies. And then he throws a grenade at that left door because that is where like all the ads spawn, and just like fire grenade will kind of like help him hold them into the oxy in case they run out. And then he just kills that right chunga here. Boom. Should be the last thing to die. If everything goes perfectly, the right chunga should be the last thing to die every time.
Pressing.
So yeah, now kind of get into the negotiators part of it. Kind of how negotiators work and why we can one-shot bosses with it is basically when you shoot a armor plate or a weak point and you crit, it obviously like negotiators, like when you crit, it'll transfer to whatever you have marked. But normally how it works is like when you shoot an ad, let's say you shoot a red, has 1 million health, right? And you have the boss marked and you shoot an ad that has 1 million health. Even if you hit for 700 million, it's only going to transfer 1 million because that's how much health the ad had, right? So basically when you shoot a weak point or an armor plate, it doesn't have a health gate. Like it doesn't like have like that, like, yeah, I guess kind of like a health gate. So it will transfer however much you hit for. So that is super important. And also armor plating and the Ravenous is really good. If you blue stack with the Rav, as you can see here, blue stacking with the Rav just gives him a ton of damage for armor plating. He does 2 full stacks and 1 half stack. Also, like he's marking the boss in that shield ad while Rav stacking. It's kind of important too. And then the hard part, which is like the menuing for this, he goes into his inventory, clicks on his Ravenous, and puts a diamond back on. This is his diamond back right here. It's very fast and it's extremely like hard to see what's happening because how fast this is basically how fast it needs to be because your Rav stacks will run out and then you're just cooked and you're gonna do 0 damage. So yeah, he puts on a diamondback. As you can see here, the diamondback marks the closest ad to him, which is gonna be this one. That's why we don't do it on the left because the ad closest to you is gonna be a shield ad. So you want to do it on the right. So that way it marks this guy. And he shoots him. Boom. 382. Technically he hit the boss for 428 because that's the nego bag. It does like 112. Anyway, so yeah. It's for a lot of damage. The boss dies. And then extremely important little thing here is he doesn't immediately kill this guy. You want to wait a second or two, probably like 2 seconds, and then kill him. Otherwise he'll respawn. That is extremely important. And it will be kind of weird to get used to. But yeah. And then he also just makes sure that this one dies, but that was all good. He didn't need to do that. The guy who's oxing him did it perfectly. Yeah, and then he kills himself. This is the hardest position. And Luis is really good at it, and the menuing was very perfect. Like, as you guys saw, like, you couldn't even see what he just did. But yeah, that is kind of how fast it needs to be. And I have seen a lot of macro accusations. It's not a macro. I've seen a lot of people do this. You can do it without a macro. You can do it just as fast without a macro. So yeah, don't accuse anyone of that, please. That is so cringe. So yeah, that's all this guy does for the rail yard, and then he kills himself. And this is one of the players that gets pulled into the heat chamber. So yeah, he dies, and then the pull call is pulled. And as you can hear,
2.
Ronan says 2.
1.
I say 1.
Easy game.
And then that basically means to him, okay, I don't have to do anything because both those were called already. So if he loaded in first or second, he would have done 2 or 1. But because he loaded in last, he doesn't do anything. So he just kills himself. And then right now he's spectating. Another little tip here, guys. If you spectate the person that is closest to the checkpoint you're going to load in at, you will get a faster load. That is actually a really good tip, and it's used in a lot of like mission speedruns and stuff like that. So yeah, that's why everybody is spectating what's on here. And then boom. That's all.
2.
All right. Next up, we got the position that I did. It is kind of a weird build. It's going to be a 3-piece Empress. I was using Perfect Glass Cannon, Fox's Prayers, a Dodge City holster. And then it's obviously you need to be on Technician for the skill tier 6 because the Dodge City doesn't have a skill tier on it. And then I was just using the Harvest, Chatterbox, and obviously I need to be on a Perfect Sledge Gun, which you'll see in a second. But it's also kind of good that this is the person that's calling if you're live or not, which is basically just like saying like, okay, we're all in, all 7 people are in because they're right in the middle. Like I can see the 3 people here. You'll hear me say live.
Live.
Technically I said live before I saw this person load in, but it was Kosan, so he was always in, so it didn't really matter. It's just like different, I guess. So I saw the 3 people here, and I heard the other people here that they were in, so I said live. So yeah. That's technically not, it doesn't need to be this person, but it kind of helps too, because they're right in the middle.
Live.
And then I'll line up my Oxy here onto a fire barrel. It's important that you're shooting that fire barrel and not just shooting like your Oxy in that direction, because it will light the fire barrel up and light the mid gunner on fire, which means he won't get on the gun and start spraying someone down. So yeah, it's good to shoot that barrel because it'll light him on fire and do the Oxy ticks. So just 1 Oxy there. And then I shoot like 5 or 4 or whatever.
I'm gonna be slow.
Yeah, 5 Oxys at this door, which is going to be where the shotgunners are going to spawn. And then 2 Oxys on that right gunner. And then 1 Oxy on the left door. So that's how I split it up. As you can see here, shotgunners spawn. They die very fast. This is kind of unnecessary here. I'm just shooting the mortar or the gunner guy. I don't know why I can't speak, but the gunner guy, just because why not? Like I'm just basically waiting right now. I'm just waiting for my Chunga to come out. I already shot all my Oxys and stuff like that. And once he comes out, I throw my Firefly. It's kind of important that you do this weird like kind of curve. Otherwise he's gonna like demo you and it's really frustrating. So yeah, I immediately throw that, shoot him in the chest. Boom, done. Immediately press the left button.
Pressing.
And then kind of position myself. Make sure you have your sledge gun out because you're the one that's going to be sledging the mortar guy for the nego guy. Yeah, you throw the grenades. This is also when I shoot my Oxy to kill myself a little faster. It's worth mentioning, you can throw your grenade. As long as you had your sledge gun out, you can hold your chem out and it'll still proc sledge. If you didn't understand what I just said, don't worry about it. It's not that important. But yeah, so proc sledge. Shoot an Oxy off to the side so that way you can kill yourself a little faster. And then I'm also the person that, or one of the, obviously Ronan did it too, but I was putting on a Sweet Dreams so I could kill the other shield guy. And then also super important, it doesn't technically need to be me. It could be Ronan or like Compton or anything, like any of the other positions that I honestly went through previously. But they need to say go the second that gray kind of makes that
Go Croissant.
like thumping noise when he jumps on the train, I say go Croissant. That's basically just indicating for someone in the heat chamber to start shooting their oxys. Obviously, I'll show you that POV later, and I'll explain like kind of why they need that. But yeah, you do need to do that because the people in the heat chamber are basically blind to where we're at and what's happening and stuff like that. So yeah, gotta say that. And then I wait until this guy's unimmune. I know it kind of looks weird because like he's still looks like he's immune, but he's not. It's kind of perfectly timed. And then you just run into your oxy,
Good.
die. I'm the one that was saying good. I just say good once I know that me, Ronan, Lynx are dead. So the 3 people that are getting pulled into heat chamber.
Pull.
And then we get pulled in.
2.
1.
And then again, the 2-1 system. So Ronan loads in first, so he goes to 2. I loaded in second, so I go into 1.
Easy.
I do something kind of similar to Ronan here. I just shoot my oxy off to the side. And then I'm just waiting until I see Ronan is close enough, so we all press at the same time. Ronan says press, press, press. We all pressed. It's also worth mentioning, because I'm on perfect glass cannon, I need to shoot my oxy kind of off to the side more than like someone without perfect glass cannon, because it is an entire oxy tick less. Like you will die noticeably faster with perfect glass cannon on. So yeah.
Press us first.
Boom, I die. Doors open, checkpoints hit.
He's like a
Done.
12.
I'm loaded in. I get the worst load ever, but you get the
Yeah,
points.
it's one of those.
So yeah,
Actually, it
that's
was
all.
11.
Alright, so next up we got Rhea.
2.
We're gonna start getting into the people that are behind the train. Yeah. So this guy is it's kind of hard to see where he's rolling it at, but you'll
3,
see like when
2,
he kind of
1.
runs out and stuff like that. You'll see he's here, basically just behind the train, like right behind the train. Jumps up onto this crucible thing. What you're about to see is like low-key kind of crazy. This lineup is extremely difficult to see, but you'll kind of get the hang of it, I guess. I don't know. But basically, he's shooting the top right catwalk spawn or the back right catwalk spawn. It's the first spawn that happens on the rail yard. So it's important that this person is the one that's saying go, or like, I'm ready, we can start. Like, I have enough oxys there, we can start the rail yard. You'll hear him say go.
Go.
So that's him saying, I have enough oxys, we can start. Because like once he shoots 4 oxys down onto that one, it's enough. He can shoot his last
I'm
few
gonna be slow.
while he's jumping and stuff like that. So there you go. Boom. And then he puts a scanner pulse on and an Acosta's
Right,
on,
right, it's
just
shaping
so the OC scan for the nego guy, just to do a little more damage, and so we can kill that mortar guy, which you'll see in a second. So you just throw your grenade whenever the rail yard ends, or you like hear the train moving. So there you go.
Head.
And then he just scans right after your OCs. 2, 3. Shoots 3 oxys at their right gunner. It's also important the timing. You don't want to just shoot him the second you can. Otherwise, you'll kill him too fast and he will respawn. So yeah, you want to wait a little bit. Kind of find whatever timing works best for you. Just like look at the boss, look at the shield guys, whatever you want. Just make sure you don't kill him too fast. This was basically like perfect timing.
Go Croissant.
So yeah. Another thing is you want to get like up against this wall, because this is a checkpoint. You do need to hit this checkpoint in order for the whole pull thing to work. So yeah, make sure you're here.
Pull.
And then this is another guy that's just not getting pulled in. So once he sees that everybody's pulled in, or after the pull call, he can go ahead and wipe and just basically wait for the heat chamber to be completed.
1.
Another thing is just like for this position, it's like the lineup here is really difficult. Like it's really hard to see what's happening. But
Wide.
honestly, my best tip for you is just get someone that can kind of help you, like tell you like, all right, you're too far left, you're too far right, and then just find that sweet spot. I think he was using this little part of the rail to show like the line of it, and he was just putting his like you know, line of oxy just on that same part of the rail every single time, standing in the exact same spot, because it is super far away. Like that where he's shooting is so far away. So yeah, that's all for this position. Yeah. All right, so now we're gonna get into the 2 people that are actually in the heat chamber. So the first one is gonna be this guy. It's gonna be broken. He was the guy doing this one. It's worth mentioning that this technically isn't the world record run. He didn't record, unfortunately, but I promise you, he didn't do anything like really different at all. He did like one thing less, which I'll get into, but yeah, it is like the same exact thing. So yeah, he loads in eventually. I hope. There we are. So he's here. Kind of like deep past the train. This is like the hallway door to kind of go into the heat chamber. So as you can see, he's just sprinting there. So basically, this is kind of the part that's a little different because we started BTSUing in the heat chamber because because the people in the heat chamber don't get the BTSU because how far away they are. The people on the rail yard get it, but they don't because they're like too far. This is his build right here. But I would be on an Acosta's go bag instead of this whole energized thing he does. It was extremely smart. Props to him. If you know what's happening right now, which you don't need to, because basically right now you should just be on an Acosta's go bag. But really smart or broken because we didn't BTSU yet in the heat chamber. But yeah. Basically, instead of proccing this energized scan, you would just be on an Acosta and you just throw your Acosta right now and then throw your shrapnel. You throw your Acosta, throw your shrapnel, and then run back. So yeah, like right now you don't need to worry about this like Acosta switch. You just run over here, wait a little bit. Oh good. Yeah, you're just gonna want to wait a little bit. I think there's a call we called pressing. So when we press the second button on the like to initiate the gray spawn, that's when he started shooting, or a couple seconds after that. We just said like pressing, and then a couple seconds later he'd shoot. So now yeah, he just shoots like few chems. Realistically, because you were OC'd when you threw the shrapnel, and you'll be OC'd when they go off, the shrapnel will do mostly, if not everything, for that cool room, because there's only going to be 3 ads in there. And then you're going to stand just before this line right here, just to make sure. And then you'll see him Acosta, but instead of Acostaing here, you're going to get a BTSU overcharge from someone else. I'm sorry, it is annoying that it's different POV and it's technically a little different, but yeah, you won't need to. You'll basically just get a BTSU overcharge instead. And then you just wait before here. And then you'll hear a couple comms here. 1 second.
Good.
So say good, and then you'll hear Croissant say pull.
Good. Pull. Left gunner.
The pull call is what means you step into this doorway and hit that checkpoint. So he hits the checkpoint, and this is the checkpoint that is pulling everyone that is dead onto the rail yard into right here.
He's dead.
So there you go.
Holy shit!
And then the shrapnels and oxygen stuff like that you put on that cool room will go off. You'll annihilate and like just absolutely shit on the cool room. Should die extremely fast. And also, like, another note, I know I said this like plenty of times, but you will be BTSU overcharged right now from the guy over here. So yeah. And then this guy runs all the way from that checkpoint after pulling, like all the way from that checkpoint after pulling to the 3 console. You won't make it every single time. You won't be like close or anything like that. And then you wait until everybody's ready on 1 and 2.
Go.
Boom. Done.
What is that?
And then yeah, and then we had this guy running. So this is an extremely important part if you and your team want to do full runs off this strat. This player needs to be, if you guys want to do Diamondback and Boss 2, this is basically the only player that can have max Busy Bee. Everyone else needs Chatterbox or like to shoot a gun or something. Like this is the only person that logically should have like or be able to have max Busy Bee or start off with it. I'm not gonna go into the Boss 2 strat or anything past Railyard right now. But yeah, that's worth mentioning if you guys want to do full runs. So yeah, that's basically it. That's all for this guy. All right, so now we got the last guy. Last one. He is obviously someone else in the heat chamber. He rolls just before this door, you'll see. Once he loads in, it's a super shit load, but there you are. He's basically just right before that door, and you just roll into that little green box there. This right here, not necessary. This was just basically him just doing extra because he can. But basically what he's doing is just helping that top right spawn that Rhea over here is shooting. This lineup is absolutely diabolical, by the way. Like, this is like incredible, genuinely. Like, I don't even know. But yeah, this is not necessary. I wouldn't really worry about this. Makes it a lot simpler to not do this and like less hard switching and stuff like that. So yeah, basically what I would do is just start on BTSUs. Don't shoot any oxys there, and you won't have to do this whole hard switch thing. So yeah, you'll basically just load in and just start sprinting. That's all. Start on BTSUs, just start sprinting. You'll get like about here. So the timing, because he did all that like hard switching and stuff like that, is gonna be pretty close for him. But normally if you just sprinted, obviously you'll get here sooner. So yeah, you're gonna want to wait until the go call. The go call. This is the call that I talked about in like the POV that I had. It's when like Gray kind of stomps on that train. That's the go call for this person to start shooting oxys. I know it's kind of weird, but it's the timing. So you'll hear it. I say go Kwasan, and then he just starts dumping all of his oxys into this door. Shoot as many as you can. If you have 8, then shoot 8. I mean, yeah, he had like 7. Technically, that one just got back, but like 7 works, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, he shoots as many as he can. And then this is also the player that is calling the pull call, because if he is slow or doesn't have all of his oxys down or whatever, then we're cooked. So he's the guy that needs to say pull.
Good.
As you hear there, I say good. That's saying that we're ready to be pulled, and whenever you're ready, you say pull. So obviously he's ready right away. So he's like, all right, I'm good. All my oxys are down. We're good. So he says pull. He doesn't have his mic on in the like recording, but he says pull like right now. And then right when you say pull, you need to overcharge. You need to break your hive. This is going to BTSU the 2 people in the heat chamber. So like I said earlier, the BTSU is like very like it didn't reach the people in the heat chamber, so they can use it differently from the people in railyard. I know that's kind of weird. It's also worth mentioning that in the world record, we do not BTSU in boss 2. We use a constant energize in boss 2. You should not, if you want to use BTSU in boss 2, go right ahead. It's not a bad strat or anything, but you need to do everything that Broken did in the POV I showed you, and this guy needs to use an Acostas instead, which isn't necessarily that bad, honestly. It's really not, but yeah, this is how we set it up. So yeah, and then you come up here, and then you'll see the cooler room ads will just get absolutely obliterated. They'll literally spawn in dead basically. Once 2 of those ads die, it'll start the spawn that you shot oxys at, like just now. And this is it's not an exploit. It's just like game design. It's kind of poor game design. But when an ad is out of bounds, like in a area a player cannot reach, and it has like a key or a fuse or just like even like tac ammo or like loot or anything, obviously because the player cannot get there, it will teleport to the nearest player. So with that being said, that is very important that the ad, and like you have enough oxygen and stuff like that, so the ad dies inside of that room, because the gold engineer, you'll see there, the gold engineer, when he dies, it drops the fuse, which gets put into this fuse box here, and if he runs out, then it's going to drop, just on the ground, and it won't teleport to you, so you need to run all the way there, run all the way back. So yeah, it's super slow. You don't want to do that, because with this, as you can see, we're not even loaded in yet, and he's putting in the fuse. So we're calling out like the 2-in-1 and stuff like that. So basically, the consoles are just ready as soon as we get there. That's the whole point of this guy. Like, like teleporting the key to himself and stuff like that. And then he puts in the key, runs down,
Press.
opens the door, runs through. Everybody that's dead, which is everybody except the guy pressing 3, gets pulled because that's a
It's like
checkpoint.
12. Oh, no, no.
So yeah,
Yeah, it was one of those. It was like 12.
that's all. All right. So I'm putting this at the end of the video because it is super confusing, and like if you don't understand what I'm saying, that's completely okay. I probably don't really understand what I'm saying either. So yeah, if you don't understand what I'm saying, I'm just gonna say this now. Have this player, so Compton, the guy that was rolling
3,
into the rail yard,
2.
or not the rail yard, the warehouse, just have him roll on the other side of the gate, and then when he gets in, just have him open the gate and then do everything that I showed you. It's kind of important for that, but yeah, the reason why, okay, I'm gonna just try my absolute best to explain this, but this player needs to always be here. Like when you clear the rail yard, when you're clearing the rail yard to, you know, initially get people past the train to roll past the train, because obviously the people past the train and everybody on the rail yard will need to be on the rail yard and past the train to even like get a chance at rolling in. Does that make sense? Like you can't like you need to get there to roll there is basically what I'm trying to say. With that being said, you need to kill boss 1 and you need to clear rail yard. But here's the thing. When you kill boss 1, you need to wipe. If you nego kill boss 1, you one shot him before he hits the ground and stuff like that, you need to wipe. Otherwise you're in a you're soft locked. You cannot progress. You need to wipe. So the issue with that is when you wipe, this door will close and this person will get teleported to like onto the rail yard with everyone else. So the issue is how are they going to get here, right? Like how can they get here? Because that door is locked and now they're on the rail yard. So and there's no way to like fast travel here. So the only way to get past that is just not have them jump over ever. They like once the raid is reset or whatever you guys are clearing the rail yard so you can get people in or whatever. This person does not jump, and this is where it gets tricky. Let's say you clear the rail yard, you're about to spawn the boss, whatever. You cannot have DPS players because your Oxy players need Chatterbox, obviously. So what we did is we had our nego guy get him weak. Cannot kill him again because then you need to wipe. So we had him get him weak as weak as he could to like 1 bar of armor, and then shoot Oxys. We'd have all of our Oxy players shoot as many Oxys as they can at the boss, so that when he gets unimmune, he would just get burned to Oxys. Like it is actually like as long as you have enough Oxys, it should happen every single time. As long as the nego guy doesn't like mess up. So yeah. Basically, you cannot kill him to nego, and you need to kill him like traditionally, but you can get the nego guy to kind of get him so like weak. And then after that, you would need to get the fuses, like the keys or whatever, the fuses, and put them into the boxes to like push the train. You know what I mean? You technically only need to get 1, and then you can get the people past the train. But yeah. Super annoying. Like that genuinely made it so frustrating. And having this player inside the warehouse is maybe, I don't know, yeah, like 5 seconds, like 8-second time save. And it is so frustrating, like, to do that. But if you guys don't want to go through and you don't understand what I just said and you don't care and you're like, all right, whatever, 5 seconds, not a big deal. Like I said, don't just basically ignore what I just said. You can, when you're getting people into the heat or like, trying to get past the train for, the chance to roll or whatever, you can nego kill the boss, no problem. Just wipe, whatever, doesn't matter. And then this guy can just travel back to the beach. This door will be closed. Just have him roll on the other side of the gate. Doesn't matter. I'm just saying that now, and I know like it's probably confusing. You probably have to have like a really solid understanding of how every like Iron Horse works to understand like why what I just said makes any sense. And I'm sorry, I wish I could explain it better, but that's yeah. There you go. With that being said, I hope you guys like understood the video at least like a decent amount. Yeah, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. If it's a bigger question, I'll probably just, have you add my Discord. I'll get to you as soon as I can. But yeah, there you guys go. That's the Iron Horse strat that we use on Railyard. It is so frustrating, and if anyone even attempts it, like the biggest props to you. Like it was so frustrating. Like I said, it was hundreds and like literal hundreds of hours that we spent doing this. So yeah, I know it probably is like, oh, these guys have no lives, but I assure you, we did not cheat. We all have a life. We only ran like 2, maybe 3 hours a day, and yeah. Yeah. So with that being said, that's it. And thank you guys for watching.